and playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're at Tampa Stadium, where they'll have 74,000 people here on CBS for Super Bowl 18 in January. Today, a little over 60,000. The reason? The Cardinals come in with a 1-5 record, beating Philadelphia for that one win, and the hometown Buccaneers are 0-6. Today, it's a perfect day for football. 83 degrees, it's a little humid, 75%, 8 to 10 mile an hour off beautiful Tampa Bay, and there's not much of a chance now of rain. It's a beautiful sky. And with me is Charlie Waters. I'm Tom Brookshire, and Charlie, we got natural grass on the stadium, and O'Donoghue's going to kick off. You can see Owens and Morton down there waiting for it. We'll talk a little bit about these two teams and how they arrived here in such a losing state. This is Morton, fumbling and handing off. And a big hole breaks out, 27. That's Owens, the speed merchant, the tailback for Tampa Bay. Almost broke the thing on the opening return, a 23-yard return. And here's the offensive setup. Jack Thompson, obtained from Cincinnati in the offseason for a number one and some money. Jimmy Wilder, who's back and playing well. James Owens, the man you just saw taking that return back. Gerald Carter, the leading receiver. And Kevin House, the man they used to depend upon, and he might come back today. Sanders, Grimes, Wilson, Yarno, Thomas, and the tight end is Giles, but there are a lot of injuries, and we'll try to keep you updated.
Makeshift offensive line, Brookie.
Quarterback is Thompson. Here's the waggle right, a sidearm delivery, and Obradovic couldn't hang on to it. Thompson now rolling out a little bit, which is not exactly his style, but a good idea to do against St. Louis. The second game of the doubleheader today is, of course, Philadelphia traveling to Dallas. But actually, the Cardinals 2 weeks ago beat the Eagles, and Dallas should have really lost to Tampa Bay. So these two teams here today are not probably as bad as their record. Is that fair?
Well, yeah. And when you're 0-6 and 1-5, you still, as professionals, got to go out and play a good, solid ball game because that's what you're getting paid for. Neither team is out of it either.
And, of course, the Cardinals on offense have turned it over too much, and Tampa Bay's had a million injuries. There's a flag down as Wilder struggles to get back to the line of scrimmage. John McKay was talking to us as only he can. He's got a great sense of humor, but a very serious man underneath it all. And he said that his offensive line played together as a unit for 47 seconds this year. That was the first couple of plays and the opening loss to Chicago.
Boy, if there's one unit on the offensive or on football that has to work together, it's got to be that offensive line. 47 seconds together as a group for their starters is not very good. Now they're plagued with injuries with the defensive
offense holding.
Their starting linebackers are they're riddled with injuries. They brought in two linebackers in the last 2 weeks to be on their team. And, well, you know, that's tough. Now, on the other side of the line of scrimmage, St. Louis has given up 38% of their points has been directly caused because of a turnover, some sort of turnover. That's bad, too.
Might be good that Cardinals are starting on defense, at least for their cause. Second down and 20. Thompson back. Being chased. It's a screen pass. He wants, good defensive recovery as Wilder is tackled by Rush Brown, who was a late starter. That's Galloway that made the tackle, not Rush Brown. 65.
Well, we talked to Jack Thompson yesterday. He says one of the things, we're not a very good screening team, but we think we can screen on these guys because they got such a strong pass rush. Well, they got a strong pass rush, but they also sniffed out that screen extremely well. David Galloway, the second-year veteran, sniffing that one out.
He's from around here, too. He's playing before some home folks, isn't he? Third down now and a ton. 3rd and 27. Iback gets the handoff. Wilder, he's going to be held far short at the 11-yard line of a first down as E.J. Jr. makes his first tackle of the afternoon, and the boos come up from the crowd.
Well, they've been on McKay down here just as bad as they've been on Hannafin in St. Louis. And naturally, when you have a team that's got a strong pass rush, you're going to try to keep them honest with running a draw, a screen every once in a while. Of course, the defensive team knows that too.
Garcia's going to punt from the end zone, and Stump Mitchell will return for St. Louis. He's standing on his own 40-yard line. We had been told with a sternum injury that the stumper would not return, but he's there. This is not a great kick. It's going to slide on Stump Mitchell at the 50. Mitchell inside the 40-yard line and got down. He does not believe in the fair catch, and perhaps that's the reason that he is injured. Leonard down making the tackle. A 37-yard punt, a 10-yard return. No blood yet, but St. Louis has the football. Let's talk about the St. Louis offensive line, Charlie Waters. Here's the lineup. Lomax is back in there. This is the second week since he had the injury. Wayne Morris, Otis Anderson, who still could have a big day today, Roy Green, and of course Tilley, two of the best. Sharp, Steve, Deerdorf back at center, Clark now at guard, and Plunkett, the young man at right tackle. They're hurting there. Marsh is the starting tight end. That's Marsh in motion. Neil Lomax, the toss back to Anderson. And he crawls inside the 35-yard line. Booker Reese barely tripping him up. He's 222 pounds. He's one of the most feared backs by other teams in the league, but for some reason in St. Louis, he doesn't get a lot of respect.
No, he says, I don't even like going out and getting introduced before the game because they boo me in my hometown. They kind of like playing on the road, these guys, especially when they're losing in the home city, and none of them made any excuses about it. It's, hey, we're just losing, and fans of deserve, they can do that if they want to.
Here's the handoff. Lomax to Anderson this time. The road trip's not too successful. Give him maybe a half a yard. Jeff Davis making the tackle there. This defense is really a patchwork job. It is still very good against the rush because they have Leroy Selman up front. Booker Reese is in for young Cannon, who's out with a neck injury. Logan is a very good nose tackle, and of course Leroy Selman in the league all by himself. Ed Judy's only been here 10 days. Jeff Davis and Brantley inside, and Thompson has only been here 3 days. Holt, Washington, Cotney, and Brown, they're getting well back there. That's not a bad secondary. 3rd down and 5 on the 35. Roy Green in motion. Lomax's first pass. Now he throws out in the flat. This is number 32. Anderson makes one good move and a good defensive play by the linebacker Davis. And Logan came up too from the nose spot in the chase.
One of the good things that Tampa Bay does is they play the rush extremely well. But St. Louis today said, going in the ball game, we're going to try to run the ball against them. We do good running against the 3-man front. That's why they ran the ball on the first 2 downs. And on that pass right there, their linebackers covered the man downfield, and they had to throw it off to Anderson.
I wondered if he wanted to do that. He was looking for a deeper receiver. Jim Hannafin in his 4th year for St. Louis. The kind of coach you'd like to play for, but he's under fire. O'Donohue now, a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer of the 79 championship team. He's going to try one from the 42. Bad hold by Perrin. A 52-yard attempt, and it's still good. A low liner. Made it through a 52-yard field goal by O'Donohue, who came in here with not having the best record in the league. Wow. A hooded 2-iron right through the uprights. It's 3-0 St. Louis.
The results are in. More Americans looked at value and put their money on Chevrolet in the 1983 model year. They made Chevrolet #1 in new car and truck sales, #1 in onboard computers, #1 in fuel injection, #1 in front drives. That's because Chevrolet provides the cars and trucks America wants and needs. In fact, over the past 6 years, Chevrolet has sold more than all the imports combined. Thanks, America. Chevrolet. And you. Taking charge. If you want it, I like it. If you really like it,
I really like it.
We can help you get it. We're GMAC.
We want it.
GMAC Financing.
GMAC has helped more people buy their new GM car or truck than anyone, with rates that make sense on models people want. All at your GM dealer.
If you really want it, we can help you get it. We're GMAC Financing.
We got it.
O'Donohue was 0 for 9 in his career from beyond 50 yards. His first 50-yarder plus a 52-yarder. Not a bad time to do it.
We mentioned that it was a bad hold, but check this snap out right here.
Who's snapping?
That's Big Squash, Carlos Scott. He's normally not their snapper. Clark is usually their snapper, and we don't know why Clark wasn't snapping, but it was a great hold by Perrin to come from the outside and bring it back in. You know, Perrin, this is his first year holding because Worley's been doing it in the past.
I think Hannafin will take it anyway. Onside kick by the Cardinals. Looks like they might have it if they kept it in bounds. It may have slid out of bounds before they got possession. The Cardinals had to get possession after a 10-yard roll. Looks like Tampa got a break.
Hey, that's pretty aggressive football there, though, Brookie. I mean, the very first series after a 3-point conversion or 3-point field goal to come back and try to get the ball on an onside kick, giving up field position.
That's Leonard Washington, the young defensive secondary man, or Lionel Washington, that's on the sidelines there. He tried to recover that, and the bodies usually stack up on the guy that gets to the ball first. Sometimes courage can get you the breath knocked out of you. Looks like he's all right, though. Thompson now the quarterback. The throwing Samoan came out of college with all the credentials, but never had a chance to play under one coach for very long periods of time. Huh?
He's played 8 years in college in the NFL and had 7 different coaches and systems to learn. Well, that's a cluttered man.
Yeah, it is. Boyd Dowler, who's in charge of the offense, thinks that he's finally getting it, though. Outside handoff. That's Owens. James Owens gets almost to midfield and then is sent skyward. Benny Perrin coming up, one of the leading tacklers of the Cardinal defense, which is always an awful stat, I think. When your safety men leading tackles, they have knockdown shoulders all the time, don't they? Here's that St. Louis defense. You can run on it. Baker, Bubba Baker, Dave Galloway, Rush Brown, and Curtis Greer. Charlie Baker, Kurt Alleman, the young Penn Stater in there. Griffin Smith, Nelson, and Perrin, the secondary getting healthy, but they've had some problems stopping the run this year so far. And you can see why. Owens to the 40-yard line. Owens with great speed, obtained from San Francisco a couple of years ago. Remember what Hannafin said, though, about John McKay's offense? It's always from the eye, a good toss formation. Once they get it going, that's all they'll do until you stop it.
And they felt like, St. Louis felt like they had to stop the run, because even though they're last in the league in the rushing attack, they still feel like they need to stop the run, and this is a good example of it right here. Makeshift line. At one time during the year, they had 4 guards playing in the offensive line.
It's been that kind of a year. Good coaches ride the storm out. This is Wilder going inside. Maybe a couple of yards as Allerman is there. We were talking to Kurt Alleman, a typical Penn State linebacker, and he's not too fast, but as John McKay knows, sometimes intelligence is a good thing to have, even if it's in the opposition. We figured that Allerman was a 4.5 in the brain department, not in speed, right?
Yeah. Said, I'm not really blessed with that speed, but I like to think on the field. He does a heck of a job. This picture of John McKay.
Big Boyd Dowler, the former Green Bay receiver. His offensive man hanging over in there. Here's the tailback with a drive series. Owens gets hit hard, gets to perhaps the 35. Rush Brown in there quickly. Now Floyd Peters on the defensive side for St. Louis installs a lot of twisting and defensive stunts. When everybody's healthy, that's pretty good. But now he's got Rush Brown, who's sort of subbing in there right now. And also Galloway, who is a young player inside.
See Allerman come out. He comes out in an obvious pass situation. I'm not gifted with the fleet foot, but does have the 4.5 brain.
But Elo Grooms, who they would like to have in there, still has a bad ankle, suffered in the game against Philadelphia. Here's Thompson back to throw. Look for a secondary receiver and finds Giles. Jimmy Giles to the 21-yard line. Thompson looked to the right flat for Wilder and then went right away to one of the great tight ends in the business. Cedric Mack made the tackle there.
Coach McKay is saying, of course, they're always looking for a ray of hope when your team is 0-6. He said, but I think we've turned the corner with our quarterback situation. Well, once our team gets confidence in our quarterback, they're going to start winning ball games, and you can see the poise he had on that play right there to Jimmy Giles.
13-yarder last week. He had, what, an 80-yarder against the Cowboys and didn't score on it. Pretty good for distance, though. 1st and 10. Handoff to Owens. The block by Wilder was beaten, and number 35 came up and did a heck of a job on defense. Jeff Griffin took the fullback, beat the block, and caused what looked like a fumble for a minute.
Well, Brookie, once you knock a man on the turf cannot cause a fumble.
Even if it's real grass, huh?
Even if it's not real grass.
This looks like Owens. It's on the ground, the ball carrier. We'll check and find out how he is and what the problem is in just a moment. St. Louis on a field goal, leads 3-0.
Chevrolet, taking charge.
Make your move to Chevrolet's new Celebrity.
Move into more.
Move into the comfort of more passenger room than 91 out of 95 import cars. Move into Celebrity and the traction of front drive.
Move into more.
Try to find any other front drive automobile that gives you more passenger room for less.
Chevrolet,
And you
taking charge.
For Sheriff Duval, whose car lacked the pickup to make the pickup, there's Gulf Super Unleaded, the gas with guts. For absent-minded Professor Doyle, who never remembered to check her oil, Gulf's full-service dealers check it for her. For Morton Mitchell, who demands the right gas, but at the right price, Gulf self-service makes more sense for less sense.
Gulf, everything we do makes driving better for you.
We're shot at Benny Perrin right there at 23. He's the aggressive safety man, and he's leading. Well, he's second on the team in tackles. And watch how aggressive he is at reading the run and how quick he gets up. Now, we talked to Jack Thompson yesterday, the quarterback. You can see Perrin coming up trying to get involved in this tackle. That's the free safety coming up that quick. That's why he's leading the team in tackles. But Tampa Bay says that we're going to try to attack him that aggressiveness by running a little fake running play and try to suck him up and throw it deep. So look for that later.
Play action with a corner on it to Kevin House or somebody to be pretty tough on.
That's it, Brookie.
All right, Thompson is the quarterback. Owens is out of the game. He was the one slightly injured, and Carver's in there for him. Second down and 14. Thompson back quickly. Inside move and a great catch. Ball was thrown behind the receiver, Kevin House, and he came back and held on. Really a good move by the offensive player.
Of course, Kevin House has got that burning speed. But that's a great timing route and great poise by that man right there, Jack Thompson. Kevin slipped down a little bit as he was going for that ball, but I tell you, when I played against this guy, I had so much respect for him. At any time he can burst and go deep, and they haven't used him deep very much this year.
Remember, he had 100 yards a couple years ago against Lester Hayes in Oakland when they thought they could play defense. He ran by Lester Hayes like he was some kind of a traffic director.
He's underrated.
Third down and short. Two tight ends in. Tailback, cutting back. That's Carver. Did he make it? You people at home can be the judge. You're right on the line of scrimmage. You can see there's a little anxiety by young Carver getting the darn pile unpiled.
35 right there is Jeff Griffin. He's just in the lineup. This is his second game. He's just come off injury reserve, and he's a hitter. He likes to get involved. Let's see if he gets involved in this play. Perrin coming up 23, reading the run fast, but it's Griffin that ends up plugging the hole.
Looked like Bubba Baker ran this sort of a slant to the outside and got in there too on the thing. It's short. Thompson says he wants to go for it. Let's see what John McKay says. Tell you, if you don't like John McKay, you don't like football. He's one of the great people around this game. And once he sends the players out on the field, he's not in charge really of fumbles and all, folks, really. The coach would like to be, but he isn't.
All those great players he put out at USA, he said, all I tried to do was not overcoach them.
Pretty good. Let the players do it on the field. He says they can run away from the press with no comment. He said, I got to talk to him. Fourth and a foot. Big play early in this game. Carver gets it by jumping up in the air. He gets probably to the 11-yard line. And the offensive line got a pretty good charge that time. Looks like they came off.
Right over the center, Steve Wilson, who's the most durable. Only guy that's been in there every game this year. See how well, you see those defensive linemen, they've got their heads down. They're supposed to penetrate.
They just give themselves up, huh? Lord, what a way to spend your livelihood. Just giving yourself up, get down in there,
give yourself up. Just get the first. It doesn't matter. Just be effective.
Thank God they're nice people, those Giants on the line of scrimmage. First and 10 now. Tampa Bay with something going. Carver and Owens the backs. Inside crossback fake. Thompson gets it the outside. Hey, touchdown. The man that we thought would catch the ball a lot, Jimmy Wilder, the Missouri fullback, who is really a good pass receiver. He had 29 catches coming in.
Real good decision by Coach McKay to go for it on 4th and 1 when you come back and you get a touchdown on the next play. Little play action fake. James Wilder, he's known more as a receiver, but I think he's a great running back also. Last year in a strike season, he catches 53 passes in just 9 games.
And remember, he had a big trap run of 23 yards against Dallas a week ago. He's coming back from injuries and looks like he's back. Good fake by Thompson that time. Sort of made that play-action pass go. And Capice now will try the extra point attempt. Tyler's holding. Capice. There's a flag on the play. John McKay was talking about kickers. And he says, Capice, my guy, he says about 5'1". He isn't. He's really a good athlete at about 5'7" or so. But he said, my guy and the little drinker he said from Austria, what was his name?
I'm not going to. When he played Houston.
What was his name?
Yeah, Tony Frisch.
Tony Frisch, wasn't it? He said they were holding a convention for midgets out in the middle of the field, you know. But we're just kidding.
Well, Well, McKay's no giant.
Well, that's the reason he can make jokes about that.
I guess so.
They're going to re-kick it. Kickers, though, are in a different world. John McKay had one.
Team 55. Up back, holding.
Holding by number 55. Remember McKay one time had a kicker that couldn't kick because he said the head coach is staring at me all the time.
What do you say? I'm going to be at it every game,
He
though.
said, I got to come to the games, kid. If you can't take me looking at you, you better get another occupation. It's pull left as Capiz pulls it left. And McKay just turns away from the playing field and walks down the fairway left. I told you kickers were different. It's 6-3.
Here comes the hottest selling Chevrolet today. The fun-to-drive front-drive Cavalier. Fire up 2 liters of electronically fuel-injected fun and experience more horsepower than the top 3 imports. The minute you feel Cavalier perform, you'll know what makes Cavalier the hottest selling Chevrolet today.
Chevrolet,
And you.
taking charge.
I'll tell you, trying to get cultured isn't easy. We just went to the opera and we didn't understand a word.
Yeah, but that big guy in those tights sure could sing.
Well, at least we still drink a very civilized beer. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great.
But us impresarios drink it because it's less filling.
We can't afford to get filled up. Tomorrow night, we're going to the ballet.
Yeah, I sure hope they do it in English.
Me too.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
A big touchdown early, though, for Tampa Bay. Missed extra point, but they went 56-yard in 10 plays. The 11-yard pass from Thompson to Wilder. The TD, and Capiz just missed his first extra point after making 26 in a row. This is Bird, the rookie. Steve Bird gets outside to the 30-35, 37-yard line. And Jim Hannaford and the entire Cardinal team said they couldn't cut this kid because he simply refused to give up. A 32-yard return.
Boy, he showed up a lot in preseason. Let's take another shot at and take another look at the touchdown we just saw. You're the linebacker, E.J. Jr., and see if you can play run right here. Looks like a run to me. The guards are pulling. Everybody's blocking down. But there's Wilder in the flat. And you'll see E.J. coming up late to try to make the tackle. He got sucked in. That's what a play-action pass is all about. Sell that run and throw it out to the flat.
And remember, that replay is in sort of slow motion. When you're a linebacker and you see a guard pull, you got to make a move.
Boy, it happens fast.
Hannaford with Jamison, the offensive backfield man, to his left. Cardinals with the ball with good field position now, thanks to Bird's run back. Lomax, a 3-step drop, and he's sacked and thrown down as Ed Judy, the traveling linebacker, who's only been here a little over a week with this team, makes his first sack.
Ed Judy comes in and says, hey, you know, I've only been here a couple of weeks, but we got a new guy in here now. Ed linebacker, he's only been here a week, and he's calling somebody else on the team the new guy.
That's Thompson, of course, that Houston had cut earlier. And, of course, the sack problem continues for St. Louis. Denver has allowed 30. That was with Elway, most of it. Atlanta, 29. That's Bartkowski, who takes them for a living. New England with 24. And St. Louis hanging right in there now with 24. Brings up a second long, 2nd and 16. Call it 17. Lloyd Green, the motion man. Lomax, and the flags are down. Lomax looks like he's really setting up slowly to me. It looks to me like he's not jumping back and getting set up. Does it look like he's dragging on his draw there?
Yeah, it does, Brookie. You know, you're going to go crazy when I say this, but I think it has something to do with the turf. You know, they practice on artificial turf every day, these Cardinals.
Offense, delay, number 12.
But the turf didn't have anything to do with that delay penalty right there. But they do look a little sluggish, and that tends to make you a little sluggish when you practice on a fast surface, and then you come, and it is a little softer, a little slower on real grass.
Lomax was the call. They said number 12, but the official meant number 15. I started thinking I had dyslexia. Maybe the number was upside down. The toss back to Anderson. Anderson cuts back, loves to pick his own hole, and finds one. But, of course, with a long way to go, Scott Brantley made the tackle. 24 100-yard games for number 32, and he hadn't been in the league very long.
No, and he's averaging about 85 yards, right at 85 yards every time he plays an NFL football game, and that is a strong rushing statistic.
Did he ever have 100 against Dallas?
Did he ever? He had his first against Dallas.
Did you chase him or tackle him?
I saw him. I did see him.
You're much too humble. You tackled him, too. But he is a great runner.
Oh, great runner.
Here's third down. Ooh, Lomax has to reach out of the shotgun for a high snap and overthrows Tilley, who's buried at the 50.
Timing.
Well, Deerdorf hasn't been in at center now for a couple of weeks. He's been out with the injury.
He's visiting with Lomax about it right there, because you know when it's a blind snap and you can't tell when you're a center where that ball's going to be going. So he hadn't been out there for a while, and that high snap messed up Lomax's timing and influenced his pass.
The NFL's best punter, Carl Birdsong, is in there. The leading punter in the NFC with 46.3, but he leads both divisions in the net result, which means that those guys get down and cover these punts. The Cardinals can really cover kicks. Tyler's waiting at his own 24. Let's see what Birdsong gets off. It's a pretty good kick. Not his best, but it's a good one. At the 30, that's Tyler. Oh, man. Do they turn him loose? Good coverage by St. Louis. A 38-yard kick, a 3-yard return. That's a net of 35, folks. It's 6-3 Tampa Bay.
First and 10, Tampa Bay.
We are an explorer, a farmer, a miner, and an insurance company. We're a pipeline, a truck line, a gold mine, and a leasing company. We're a builder, a printer, a logger, and an energy company. We are more than 41,000 men and women working in 18 different industries all across America. We are Southern Pacific. We also run a railroad.
Monday on his season premiere, will Newhart write a sexy screen siren's life story?
Her love life is highly exaggerated.
You think so?
I hope so.
Monday.
Tampa, Florida. They started back when they built the stadium in '67 at 40-some-odd thousand. The Tampa Sports Authority and Mr. Culverhouse got the franchise, and they started playing in '76. And in 4 years, they played in the championship game right here in this stadium when the Rams beat Tampa Bay 9-0. Nobody got to a championship game faster than the Buccaneers under John McKay and Mr. Culverhouse. First and 10 now. Thompson handing off Wilder to the 35. And sort of waiting for something to happen. It looked like the Cardinal defense closed in on him. Scores from elsewhere today. San Francisco 6-0 over New Orleans. 2 field goals by Wershing on that one. And Detroit on top of Chicago 7-0. Pittsburgh 17-0 over Cleveland. What's happened to the Browns? Back to Tampa Bay where it's second down and 8 to go. The toss. The Tampa Bay toss gets to the 40-yard line. Carver still in there for the injured James Owens. We do not have a report on James Owens' injury. Flag down. This is the play that won them their first playoff game when they beat the Eagles here in '79. A fellow named Ricky Bell had 142 yards rushing just from that play.
I formation toss. I formation toss. They'll do it over and over and over again.
Defense, face mask, 5 yards, first down.
That's not a flagrant call. That means it was an accidental attachment. We saw Kenny Anderson the other night almost get his neck broken, which looked like it was intentional, but those officials on the field make that determination. Did he say who did the face mask?
No, he didn't, Brookie. He just said face mask.
Just a bunch of guys grabbed on.
Handle. Those face masks are like a handle. You need to be careful of that.
I used to love grabbing them myself.
Did you have with face masks when you played?
Just barely. They were just coming in. First and 10. Oh, you're awful. Thompson back with a lot of time. Going deep. The receiver is bumped by Nelson, I believe. And Kevin House couldn't quite reach it, and the fans think that he was bumped off stride. A lot of orange in the crowd and a lot of cheering and booing. Okay, let's go to New York City and Brent Musburger. Brent?
Rookie Billy Sims is back after missing 3 games, and it did not take Detroit long to put him to use. Here he is on a short burst for a touchdown. Lions 7, Bears nothing. Let's go back to Brookie.
Wow. Looks like his hand's okay. The wheels are definitely all right.
Well, he spiked it with his left hand, his good hand.
Yeah, after I shook hands with him, I almost re-broke his hand a week ago. Detroit coming back and beating Green Bay easily a week ago. It looks like they're going to take it out of Chicago, too. 2nd down and 10. We have 2 frustrated clubs here this afternoon. 2nd down and 10. Straight drop out of the eye. Thompson really hung up his receiver down there. Kevin House. House stayed in there and caught it, and Wayne Smith hit him right in the kidneys.
Rookie in the NFL, boy, the defensive back hates to see this type of pass. The quarterback he sets up about 4 yards deep. Watch, it's just a timing route. 1, 2, 3, 4, set up and throw. And the receivers already 15 yards down the field. They're throwing to a spot on the field. You see the numbers right there? They're throwing right at those numbers. It's just throwing for a spot on the field. And unless you have a defense on that rolls up, you're no way going to cover them man-to-man.
1, 2, 3, 4. Just are quarterbacks good dancers? Is that part of their gig? Huh? I know defensive backs are. 5 of 7 now for Jack Thompson for 44 yards. And it looks like he's got a pretty hot roll going. 1st and 10. Quick outside maneuver. Throw. Oh, good-looking move by Carter, and still on his feet to the 24-yard line. Perrin finally making the tackle, and Carter almost broke it for a Tampa touchdown.
He comes in the game with 23 receptions, and last week he scored his first touchdown of his 4-year career. This is his first year being a starter, and he makes a bunch of yards out of not much there. Griffin comes up and he avoids the tackle there. Golly, they got to have pursuit to get on somebody like that.
Sometimes you come over so fast if you're, you think you're a losing team that you overreact and you don't make the tackle you probably could have made if you'd have been more relaxed.
Just come up, make the tackle instead of try to kill them. Those guys are quick on the outside.
A shot of McKay as he watches another good drive by Tampa Bay. Toss, here it is. Student body right, they used to call it with O.J. Simpson and all. Carver, the tailback of today, hit at the line of scrimmage. Hallerman up very quickly from the linebacking court.
In the 4-man front, Brookie, you got to have an active middle linebacker or somebody can play the run extremely well, and that man right there can do it. He just came in the starting lineup. This is his 2nd game as a starter. He was originally with St. Louis and played a couple years for him, and they cut him.
Got, 13 tackles last week against
Dallas.
Dallas.
Came back last week and started and had 13 tackles. They really like the way he's performing.
I like it. I like those that try. When you have talent, it's a pretty good combination. 2nd down and call it 9. Quick drop. Thompson being chased up the middle, and he's got a receiver wide open, who's Giles. Can't get it, and there's a flag down. Did Giles push off, or did the coverage man, Cedric Mack, interfere with 88? We should identify the officials. Fred Silva is the referee. Hensley's the umpire. Kragseth, Beeks, Peter Lisk, the old Eagle quarterback, is out there as the back judge. Dave Perry and Don Orr.
The field judge, Brookie, is the guy that called that. The initial call was pass interference pushing off against offense, as you called it. The field judge is back there in the defensive backfield. His job is to look at the tight end the whole time. That's all his job is after the ball snap. After the ball snap.
Boy.
To see if he reached pass. Let's see the official here.
Offensive pass interference, number 88. 2nd down.
That's his job, to check him only. And I used to say, well,
boring way of life, though. Is that all he does?
They've got other officials out there that look at 4 and 5 guys. You know, here they are. They got one guy that looks at the tight end. Of course, I was a strong safety, and I never cheated. And
oh, boy. You had somebody looking right over your shoulder, though, right? The back judge, huh? Watching for any other discrepancies by the secondary. 2nd down and 20. Giles for pushing off. Thompson, good-looking sidearm throw. Kevin House takes it. Looks like House is beginning to get the motor going. A couple of years ago, this is one of the most dangerous deep receivers in football.
You see him clap his hands right there. He's a little disappointed. He had a little zoom route. That's a route where you go on the outside and just float around for a second and come to the inside. And just when he started to make the move to the inside, he slipped down. And that's why you saw that pump by the quarterback right there, and that just shows the kind of poise that Jack Thompson's having right now. If he wasn't on top of his game, he would have thrown the ball poorly when Kevin slipped down. But he waited and for it to open up.
Well, Jack Thompson's going over to talk to John McKay. 2 great minds with a single purpose. It's 6-3 right now, Tampa Bay.
Chevy Tough is taking charge. Moisture and road salt are murder on a pickup. But tough Chevy S10 comes with built-in corrosion-fighting zinc-coated steel to help guard against rust. While Ford Ranger uses about 93 square feet, Chevy S10 gives you almost 3 times more zinc-treated steel, about 277 square feet. For year-round protection, Chevy S10's got you covered with tough corrosion-fighting steel. Chevy Tough is taking charge.
All right, we're up 15. We got this game won.
Yeah, you guys are buying a light beer from Miller. Yeah, let's Philly.
One out to go. Yeah, what can he do to us now?
Hey, keep the change. Here's Rodney! Any pinch hitters left?
Here I am.
Come on, lady!
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Hey, wait a minute. This game isn't over yet. I caught that ball.
Of the National Football League is sponsored by Chevrolet. America is on the move, and Chevrolet is supplying the wheels. Chevrolet and you taking charge. And by GMAC, the financing people from General Motors.
Tampa, where you're going to have the Super Bowl in January. They tell me that Super Bowl 18 will bring many bucks into the area, that CBS alone may spend $750,000, certainly not on our salaries, but on expenses and all to give the game to the whole world.
Many bucks, huh? No pun intended.
No, that's right. That's right. Tampa Bay, of course, 0-6, not thinking Super Bowl, just thinking first win of 83. It's third down and 15. Thompson is successful 1 out of 3 so far on third down. He's being chased and dumps it off, and it's intercepted. Lee Nelson picks it off and gets back to the 27-yard line as the quarterback, under a big rush by Rush Brown, should have eaten the ball and instead unloaded it.
They need something big. St. Louis does. They have a blitz on. You'll see Baker, 52, coming up on the left side of your screen and pressuring Jack Thompson. Intercepted right here by Nelson. That's the first interception of the year by Nelson. They went 5 years with no interception at the strong safety position. They got a big one there.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to be back.
Come to a Sheraton show place.
Sheridan, you've got taste.
You're gonna love every inch of the place. We've got taste. Taste the Sheraton show
You've
place
got style.
We've
Taste
got
Sheridan style worldwide on your next business trip. Call 800-325-3535.
We've got taste, we've got taste, we've got taste.
Sheridan, your style makes the difference.
You know, I've loved jeans all my life. Ever since I was a kid in dungarees. I thought bell-bottoms could save the world. And designer jeans fit the real me. But the prices didn't. That's when I found Hager jeans. I think they're the best-fitting jeans I've ever worn. And the price makes sense. With Hager, I can afford to keep myself in great-fitting jeans. And Tex here in 10-gallon hats.
Well, I want to ask Charlie Waters a question. The strong safety position that's the first interception in 5 years for the Cardinals?
No, that's not true.
Okay, then what is true?
The true thing is, in 1982, when Nelson was playing the strong safety position, he got the first interception in 5 years, and this is the first one that he's had this year, so that's a second. But they went 5 years without that position getting an interception.
Man, your defensive coach, you got to be going out of your mind. First and 10, quick drop. Lomax finds Marsh to the 36-yard line. A good receiver, number 80. Doesn't get the call constantly, but seldom drops the ball when he does get the call, number 80.
Well, you know how I feel about it, Brookie. You got to get that ball to the tight end. You got to use them in the league today. Last week, the tight ends between them caught 7 passes, he and Greg LaFleur. This is the way it looks if you're the linebacker. Of course, the So many times that tight end just has to go to the crease between the linebackers. That's what he did there.
And Hannafin told us yesterday he would like to run the football so that the Bucs don't think he's going to have to throw it every play. That's what happens when you run against Tampa Bay. They'll rack your helmets for you.
When he met Leroy Selman.
Leroy Selman, the first player ever taken by Tampa Bay, and he only weighs 240. Now, I know that sounds like a lot for you and me, but when you're playing tackles that weigh 275 plus, Leroy is so strong, he shoves them, jerks them, and throws them.
Well, he's known as the best defensive end in the NFL, and he's got those accolades with a three-man front. And, you know, you get double-team, triple-team when you're in a three-man front.
Somebody said a rookie of Dallas last week held him 11 times, and the official got tired of dropping the flag.
They called them takedowns instead of holding penalties.
3rd down and 2. The ball's on the 35. It's short yardage time. Oh, what a great defensive play. Back to the 30. Quickly coming up. Let's see who made the play. Cotney, just back off the injured list. Mark Cotney, always a hitter, came up and made a good tackle on Anderson.
He's been around since the franchise began too, rookie, and he just came off the injured reserve, as you mentioned. And he has a lot of experience to that backfield.
Birdsong now kicking, and this is Tyler accepting the punt. Birdsong, the leading kicker in the league because of that coverage. Uh-oh, little timeout call. They had to waste one as Stump Mitchell back there, the back, sees something he doesn't like. I know what it was. There were only 10 Cardinals on the field. Tampa Bay 6-3 in the second.
Bigger engines work easy on oil. But today's smaller, higher revving engines are tougher. They can break down an oil's viscosity within 1,500 miles. That's why there's Castrol. Tests show Castrol suffers no significant breakdown of viscosity even after 5,000 miles. So use Castrol, because if you make things too hard on your engine could make things hard on you. Castrol, engineered for smaller cars.
Back in '69, Subaru was pretty much alone in introducing front-wheel drive. In '75, with on-demand four-wheel drive, we were alone. And now with turbo traction, turbo plus on-demand four-wheel drive and automatic transmission, we're alone again. And we don't plan to be part of the crowd in the future either. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
Charlie, you got it.
Stump Mitchell on the right-hand side of your screen. He's the fullback on this situation, but he's also playing the role as a quarterback, and then he's responsible for counting the guys, and he's added timeout. He's added them up. There's only 10 out there.
Look at that. They're getting ready to fire the cannon off. That big center was going to snap it right through him. 4th down now. Birdsong will punt, and the Cardinals have 11 out there. John McKay has probably made sure that he has 11, because once in a while when you get into losing syndromes, people forget to check in. Here's Birdsong's kick. It is not a good punt, but it may turn out all right. It hits at the 37 and is rolling. It's a St. Louis roll inside the 20 to the 19. It's down there. Good coverage, no run back, and a 51-yard punt. Let's get some other scores. Minnesota 17-7 over Houston. Biles is gone, and Studley is the new coach there. San Diego over New England 14-3. Looks like New England might be settling back a little bit. Miami and the Jets 7-all in the second period.
Well, that's a big rivalry right there.
They just hate each other, don't they? San Francisco 6-3 over New Orleans. 2 Werging field goals. And Charlie and I both think that the New Orleans Saints are for real. They're going to make the game of that. 7-0 Detroit with that Sims touchdown, still leading Chicago. I formation, Thompson is the quarterback from the 19. Inside drive, bellies outside. That's Carver. Wow, Carver breaks out and runs over people to the 36-yard line. Melvin Carver from Nevada, Las Vegas, a 215-pounder. He's only 5'11". And Perrin had to make another tackle at safety. 16-yard pickup.
The old eye toss play, except this is not a toss. This is just a straight handoff. You see the fullback's block right there. Wilder. He does it all purpose back. He's what made that play go. 32 Wilder.
How'd they hook Curtis Greer in? He's outside on the 4-man front. I've never seen him log down that far before. Good-looking offensive run by Tampa Bay so far. They have dominated offensively until that play. Melvin Carver's knocked down by Charlie Baker. And Rush Brown was in there too. Flag is down on the far side. Offside St. Louis is our preliminary
Brookie, we mentioned
zebra signal.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We mentioned that the Tampa Bay, listen to this call.
Defense, left end. Lined up in the neutral zone. Encroachment.
Bubba Baker trying to take over the line of scrimmage.
We mentioned that they had a lot of problems in the offensive line. That guy right there, 72, Ray Snell, this is the first time he's played in 4 weeks. He's in the lineup right now.
Pretty tough to get it back all at once, but they're doing a pretty good job on the offense. At least they were. 1st and 5. Offsides on number 60. Carver now has 33 yards on 4 carries. Thompson getting the blitz and going right outside with it. He read it. That may be an audible. Look out. We got Carter. Carter into St. Louis territory to the 47-yard line. And Jack Thompson read the blitz coming from the safety side and hit his flanker quickly.
Boy, Jack Thompson has a lot of confidence in Gerald Carter. He calls him my all-purpose receiver. He reads the blitz, as Brookie called, and he fires it out to him in the flat. And you can't see it on the picture, but Jeff Griffin slipped down a little bit, just not used to this turf. I don't like the way Carter's holding this ball loose when he's running across the middle with all those linebackers around.
Everybody wanting the football these days, huh? 1st and 10 now. Tampa Bay moving again. They lead 6-3. Handoff. And gets inside the 45. That's Carver again. Wayne Smith having to make a tackle.
Melvin Carter getting to play quite a bit.
Pretty simple offense, but if you've got it going and you can run on somebody, you don't have to put it up until you want to. Right?
Boy, that's the trademark of John McKay. If we can get that eye of attack going, we're going to win the NFL. And he came into the NFL, in 1976 with this I formation and a 3-man front. I'm going to stick with this. We're going to win with it. Now everybody's using the I and the 3-man front.
Remember, he said everybody laughed at him. But when you get good people running it, it works. 2nd down and 6. Handoff. Carver, very strong runner, breaks 1 or 2 tackles. Finally, Perrin making the tackle, the safety man. He ran right through E.J. Jr. that time.
You know, Brookie, that was the exact same play that they ran before. And that shows you what their philosophy is. Hey, we're not going to try to get too fancy with it. Melvin Carter had 2 big fumbles earlier this year, and it's good to see him using him quite a bit now, and him not having any problem with the fumbles. He had 2 big fumbles earlier in the year that cost him. Well, he got credit for some of the loss.
Theo Bell just came in, another dangerous receiver. Tampa is 1 of 4 on 3rd down. Of course, that 1 was a touchdown. Thompson sprinting out right, being chased, might try to run for it. Ooh. Instead, he gets a headache at the 46-yard line. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York City for an NFL update.
And, Brookie, we got a brewing down in New Orleans. Watch Joe Montana pull out here. At the time, the 49ers led it by a field goal, 6-3. Badly thrown ball by Joe. Russell Gary intercepts for the Saints. They come back down and kick the tying field goal, and now it's deadlocked at 6. Let's go back to Brookie.
Bum Phillips with a bunch of young, stud-like players and a good defense this year. They're tough. Saints are going to be around. Garcia's kicking. Takes a long step, heading for the corner, kicking away from Stump Mitchell. Mitchell's going to let it hit. It'll be a touchback. The Cardinals getting the ball on the 20-yard line. And as you know, they're both talking to Stump down there, because if it had been playable, he would have tried to run it back. It's 6-3. We got a good ball game going, and the Cards have the football.
Of all the economy cars in America, many have front-wheel drive traction. But of all those front-wheel drive cars, only these 4 have a flat engine profile with an extremely low center of gravity for outstanding handling and traction. And every single one of them is a Subaru. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
There's more for your car during Sears National Automotive Sale. Like our lowest price in 3 years on the Die-Hard. Save $20 on the replacement battery more people have confidence in. Only $49.99 with trade-in.
And save 30% on weather-wise steel-belted all-season radials. Now as low as $39.99. It's our largest savings ever.
Heavy-duty shocks are only $9.88 each installed.
There's more for your car.
Confidence installed day and night.
There's more for your life at Sears.
He dominated college basketball as few have. Now he faces the ultimate test, the NBA. The Ralph Sampson era begins in 2 weeks on CBS Sports.
Jim Hannafin walked in where we talked with him yesterday at the hotel, and the first thing you asked him, Charlie, was, well, how are things going, Coach? He said, Charlie, I'll tell you how things are going. Pretty rotten right now.
You had to ask me that.
But he's a wonderful guy. He's going against 2 young linebackers now and playing defense for Tampa Bay. Thompson is the young man you see right there. He just was cut by Houston as a rookie this year and been on the streets. They got him off. And, of course, Judy used to be with San Francisco. Brantley caused it.
You get your great running backs that year in, year out get all this yardage. And then you see that they have a lot of fumbles. Look how he uses the ball sometimes to keep his balance. Sometimes when you're trying to get that extra yardage, you're susceptible to fumbles.
Sometimes at the end of that run, you got to put your head down and take it.
Just go ahead and protect that ball and be thankful for the yards you got.
2nd down and 7. Throw on the ground, short of the first down. I believe Anderson, the receiver, and some catch, really. He's hurt a little bit. He had to take it right in the back, and Lomax threw it the only place to complete it low.
Well, you're defensive back and you have good coverage on a guy. The quarterback throws it low and away. There's no chance to make the play. And that's what Lomax did on that situation.
And Washington, of course, a real good cornerback for the Buccaneers. Can really hit you and always has played that way. It's 3rd down and short. We got 2 tight ends in the ball game and an I formation stack behind Lomax. Anderson. Oh, no. Great defensive rush. Judy and Brantley both. Looked like they were double teaming the sled.
That was a formed tackle. You're the linebacker, 51, Judy. You see Otis Anderson coming at you. Of course, Judy plays off the block. That's a pretty tackle. Just got picked up last week and went in the Dallas game and he plays. 13 tackles or something.
How about what he said? He wanted a job. He wanted to show him he could play here. He certainly has done that. A 42-yard field goal attempt by O'Donohue. Perrin's hold. 2 for 2. 52 and 42. Held by Perrin. Snapped by Carlos Scott. Hey, it's all tied up, 6-all.
This amazing innovation from Subaru overcomes 2 problems: bad weather and the hassle of shifting gears. It combines the extra measure of safety and traction of on-demand 4-wheel drive with the ease of an automatic transmission. Now there's 4-wheel drive anybody can drive. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
We just had to find a cheaper way to heat and cool our home. Then we heard about a system that uses a special pipe developed by Phillips Petroleum that circulates water below ground. The earth warms the water in the winter and cools it in the summer. So the system's heat pump works less. And our energy costs are cut up to 50%. Now, I don't have to buy gasoline at Phillips 66, but I do, because some of their ideas strike pretty close to home.
Fine products for you and your car from Phillips Petroleum, the performance company.
6-all tie. Don't forget the last time after the O'Donohue field goal, they tried an onside kick, but I doubt if we'll see that.
Watch the way O'Donohue draws this ball in like a golfer. It starts outside of the goalpost. And, well, you know, all those soccer-style sidewinders, they had that natural draw, and because of that, they like to kick from the left side of the field. That was from the right side. It makes them kick a little harder.
They're giant hookers.
Giant hookers.
O'Donohue kicks. Smith will touch it down. A good kick by Neil O'Donohue. Probably pumped up because he used to play here with Tampa Bay, and I mean during the glory days. Coming up next, don't forget, the Eagles. Gosh, I played with them once when the helmets were made of soft leather and all that against the Cowboys. You played with them with the guys with the star on their helmets. Should be a good game, though, the second half.
You got to look out for the Eagles. The Cowboys aren't really all I mean, they're 6-0. You can't sit here and say that.
Just an average team,
Just an average team, but you got to look at this. And, of course, the Eagles they didn't win a game against Dallas in Dallas until 1979.
That was with a 50-60-yard field goal, and it'll be a good one. We're going to watch it. You don't miss it either, right here on CBS. Carver picking up where he left off, running outside of Curtis Greer. And Thompson not wanting to throw until he decides to pull the trigger. is using the rushing game.
We're seeing a lot of Melvin Carter in there because James Owens, we've got report from the bench. He's got a sprained knee.
There he is. Boy, he's the speed man, too.
Track man, hurdler.
110-meter hurdles. The only guy that ever did better probably was Nehemiah and maybe Willie Gault. He's had the third best time. If my clock is correct. This is Weiler out in the flat. Good tackle at the 25. And the player might be hurt that made the tackle. Let's see who it was at the left corner spot.
It's Jeff Griffin.
It is Griffin.
He likes to hit, but he hadn't played. He's not used to those punishing tackles.
Just came back from the broken arm. Let's just hope it's not a re-injury. We'll have the information in just a moment. It's all knotted, and we're not at halftime yet.
As a relief pitch.
It in a beer and less.
Let me finish that for you, Sparky.
Back in '69, Subaru was pretty much alone in introducing front-wheel drive. In '75, with on-demand four-wheel drive, we were alone. And now with turbo traction, turbo plus on-demand four-wheel drive and automatic transmission, we're alone again. And we don't plan to be part of the crowd in the future either. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
Monday, Jill St. John enters the world of Emerald Point.
Came to the right place.
As Hillary is connected to the murder and Celia suffers a tragic accident.
You're looking at the Tampa offensive quarterback, Jack Thompson. As we know, a fellow that used to play quarterback here, Mr. Williams, Doug Williams, has gone the way of all flesh. Took all that money and ran to the other league, and I think Mr. Culverhouse is glad that it's settled and Thompson is the quarterback here. 3rd down and 5. On the 25. Thompson, quick drop, got time, and throws a bad pass. Well covered. Theo Bell was covered by Wayne Smith, and Thompson just threw sort of a quack.
He really likes being in here at the starting quarterback position. But the last couple series, I've seen him make bad decisions, Brookie. I don't know whether it's the pressure on him or not. He threw to the wrong man there, and he threw it over him. And on the series before, he had a man open for the first and didn't hit him. Of course, it's easy for us to see.
How about the humidity? You think that ball slipped in his hand a little bit, maybe?
Well, I think the humidity is a factor, but quarterback needs to overcome that.
Garcia's kicking. Oh, he got a tremendous punt off. And Stump Mitchell's waiting. You know he's going to run it back, don't you? Mitchell to the 40. Look out. Into Tampa Bay territory and run into the Cardinal bench inside the 40. And I'll tell you, for a 9th-round draft choice, Stump Mitchell's got to be the all-time value in the NFL. Man, do I like it. A 35-yard return. Look out.
Giving that extra effort makes winners. Be all you can be, sponsored by the U.S. Army. For 16 years, Jackie Smith was the prototype NFL tight end. Durable, dedicated, and uncompromising. He showed that the tight end could be a dominating pass receiver.
Breaks another tackle, an incredible effort. Jackie Smith dives.
By being the best he could be, Jackie Smith caught more passes for more yards than any tight end ever.
A Ranger never takes the easy way out.
You're reaching deep inside you for things you've never known.
That's why getting into the Rangers is tough, and the training is tough.
Be all that you can be.
So it makes me feel like I'm part of something really special.
Be all that you can be.
And I'm not the only one.
You can do